All right. So yeah, we covered Ridley, and then we covered the Norfair escape. So obviously the next thing that we need to go over is Maridia, which is pretty interesting without a gravity suit. So we're gonna talk about a bunch of different stuff. Yeah, I guess we'll just get right to it. And if I seem like I'm having a hard time, then maybe I'll just do this another day. But we'll find out. So you come up the elevator, right? Go left, and this is actually a relatively new way that I've been doing this. So first I'll show what I'm doing, and then we'll talk about it. So run through the door, shoot. You can keep holding run here, then you want to morph. Now what I've started doing is laying the power bomb immediately upon entry, and then doing the Meridian entrance. That saves quite a bit of time, surprisingly. I guess it's not that surprising, but I never used to do it because I was too scared. And then I just decided to go for it and started working. Okay, hopefully it stables out. Anyway, so what I used to do is I just come into this room, and I would line up over here, because doing it from this side is easier, but it's not that much easier. So anyway, basically, I would line up Samus's foot with her front foot with that little line in the tank, and then I'd aim up and check the gun in comparison to some of the squigglies in the background. I know that seems weird, but I can just kind of tell. It looks like actually, so there are some like lines in the glass that you could also compare with, and that might be easier. But the idea, hey Eve, the idea here is that you want to take advantage of the change in physics to launch Samus upward. Now, first I can show it without the spike suit. So normally what you'd want to do is lay a power bomb, right? And then I'm going to show you something cool. So this tank won't break until you move after laying the power bomb, okay? You can stand here indefinitely and it won't break. So you don't need to worry about timing your jump necessarily. You just need to make sure that you don't do anything else before you jump. That includes shooting. I believe you can angle. Yeah, you can angle, but you can't shoot or walk or turn or morph. Oh, you can morph. Okay, well that's good. But yeah, you can't walk forward, can't shoot, can't do anything like that, or the tube will break. Hey Freyes, what's up? Okay, so like I said, you can just lay this wherever. Just make sure that it doesn't bounce you in a direction, or that's gonna screw you over. Okay, so lay it here and then position yourself, or if you're scared, like I used to be scared of getting in position in time, you can line yourself up beforehand and then do it. And then basically what you want to do is just, sorry, you can either hold shoot like this. Doing a great job, huh? You can hold shoot like this, and then jump and release shoot and turn on the door, and we'll send you up. Okay. Or you can do a morph, which I actually found harder, but some people find it easier, so I'll try it. Try and show that. Nope. I think you might need to time it correctly. Come to think of it, like you need to time your shot, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so next, as you guys know, theoretically and preferably we have a spike suit right now, right? So if you try and do that strat with the spike suit, here's what's going to happen. You're going to jump, and oops, right? You don't have a chance to shoot. And there isn't really a way around that. But there isn't a way around that with that strat. So as you guys know, because we covered this last time, if you're holding angle, you can jump, right? You can do a straight jump. But if you jump holding angle and then you press up, because we need to shoot upward to open the door, right? Then Samus will still use the Shine Spark. So how do we get through this? Well, this is a part where I have to give ED credit, Turn as Dragon, because when I was going through the route and looking for optimizations, and I had this idea about the spike suit and using it to get through Botwoon, through the Botwoon energy tank speed blocks, I didn't have as much knowledge about this game and the way that Samus works and stuff. And ED and I were on pretty good terms back then. We don't really talk anymore, but that's okay. And I was telling him about my idea, and he said, well, what you can do is you can morph and then unmorph, and that will prevent Samus from using the Shine Spark when you aim upwards. Anyway, so ED gave me the idea of morphing and then unmorphing, and like literally he was like, okay, so this is what you need to do to make this strat happen. So I wouldn't have thought of that by myself, so credit goes to him for the implementation of the Maridia entrance here in this particular scenario. But what you want to do is you want to hold angle down, okay, and you want to press jump after you use the power bomb. What that will do is that will initiate the glass breaking on the tube, and you can then release L for angle down and start holding down, and what it will do is it will buffer a down input while still holding jump. Okay. If Samus frame perfectly switches from angle down to down, then she won't use the spike suit. But if there's any if there are any spaces of frames there, then it will get used. But like I said, we're buffering the down input during the tube breaking animation, so we don't have to worry about that. Anyway, then you press down again, Samus morphs, and then you unmorph, you shoot the door, and you use the uninterruptible frames that we went over in one of the first ones, one of the first videos that I did, to not bonk the door, so that Samus then slides up through it. So I'll show that in full implementation, and then I'll talk about my fast strat over here on the right side, and then we'll move on to the main street strats. So use a power bomb, hold angle down, press jump, release angle down, hold down, morph, unmorph, shoot the door open, turn. That's that. Okay. Now in this situation, this Shine Spark will not get used, because when Samus morphs, that was really weird looking. When Samus morphs and then unmorphs, then it puts her in a falling state. Okay. We'll do that one more time. Oops. Okay, see? So there, I let go of down before the tube breaking animation had finished, and so the Shine Spark got used. I guess one more thing I can talk about. So the tube make the same noise every time it breaks. Basically, it makes 3 different sounds. It's the same sound, but it's in different tones. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I've started actually using those tones as my own cues for when I do actions. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 4 would be the turn in that situation. I was just a little bit off there. Now I can't even freaking do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So that's actually pretty nice because I used to have trouble timing those actions. Okay, so fast strat. Okay, so I almost exclusively use these lines in the tube now on the bottom with Samus's foot. These are easier for me to see than the left side ones. I can't really explain why that is completely, except that it's closer to the right side than it is over here to the left. Okay. If you look, so there's these 3 little lines. There are bigger lines that go like all the way through, and then there are smaller outlines that are like half. Okay. Basically, there's one that lines up with the edge of this ledge right here below the tube. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3. I line Samus's foot up with that. Okay, and it's not like pixel perfect or anything. It's not even really that tight. As long as you're in generally the right position so that you don't bonk this and you don't bonk the side next to the door, you should be good. Okay. Also, if you lay a bomb, you have quite a bit of time. Wait, really? That's right. You can move indefinitely after laying a power bomb until you switch directions or change your action. So like if you shoot, that will break it, etc., etc. Okay. So you can actually just moonwalk into place here as long as you don't stop moonwalking and then start it again. So you can just be like, I'm gonna slowly moonwalk into place. All right. I find it easier to just kind of, you know, get generally close and then inch my way. Just don't be too paranoid about breaking the tube as long as you get into position relatively quickly, okay? So again, I lay the power bomb immediately upon entry, get into position, get ready to do the jump, hold angle down, do the jump, buffer the down input, 1, 2, 3, turn. And since we're doing it from the right side, we need to hold left. Otherwise, we're going to bonk into this right here. Okay. So that's the entry. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, turn. So that's like 6. You can get a sub 6 if you do this really fast. My older strat took how long? Almost 9 seconds or more. So it saves a few seconds, which is nice. Okay, let's go over Main Street. Okay, so first of all, we want to freeze and get on this fish. All right. If you do somehow F this up, it's not the end of the world. Oh crap, right? You can freeze it in place. It's actually easier if you use a charge shot like this. And then you can use wall jumps here to get on. Okay, so it's not the end of the world, but you do lose some time if that happens. And also it will come back over. Now really, sorry, it doesn't move off screen. If you have a spike suit and you miss the entry, it's probably better to just use your spike suit. And you can line up with this weed right here over on the far right and just shoot straight up. You'll go all the way up. Okay. Don't do that. You'd want to land over on the right side. But so yeah. Oh no, I screwed it up. I guess I'll just go up this way. Hooray! Dun 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 dun. And like you'd think that that saves a ton of time, right? And it does, but it doesn't save as much as using it after Botwoon. So once we get onto this fish, basically what we want to do is we want to scale this entire room vertically, right? Since I always try to have a spike suit here, I always do the same movement that is spike suit safe. Now here's something interesting. Underwater, if you're suitless, there are a lot more options that you have in terms of movement to not blow your spike suit. So we're going to talk about that. If you remember, when we're not suitless underwater, really the only options we have are angle straight jumps, angle down straight jumps, or spin jumps, right? And if we try and do an angle down jump from crouch, then that uses it. I think it does underwater too. Nope, it doesn't. Look at that. Anyway, so yeah, underwater, here's the cool thing. You can not use it this way or this way. It doesn't happen if you do an angle down jump from a crouch state. It also doesn't happen if you just crouch and hold down. Nice, huh? And here's something really random that I found. If you're holding shoot, it won't happen. Okay? That includes with grapple. So it's not about having like a beam or whatever. It includes with ammo. Okay? And then here's the best part. If you do it this way, you still get the crouch jump boost. Okay? You do that, you get the boost as well if you do the hold down method, but it's kind of awkward to maneuver Samus that way, at least in my opinion, because you know you're doing the aim down. Whereas if you're doing the charge, if you're holding shoot, it's just a little bit easier. So yeah, what I've started doing to get through Main Street is just holding shoot the whole time. And that has worked out very well for me. It's also nice because it will help you get through the room faster even if you're not doing spike suit strats. Okay, here it is. So we enter the room, we get on the fish, right? Next thing we need to do is get up onto this platform and deal with this crab. And what I used to do is grapple the crab and collect its drop. That's not a bad thing, it just takes extra time. And I found a faster strat that can't afford that extra time, okay? I'm gonna go over the slow strat first. So we get on the fish, get the crab. Make sure that you don't press up while you're still airborne after a jump underwater, or it will get used, okay? Same with R. Don't press R. Oh, actually there was something that I can cover. So let's say that you do a jump while holding shoot, okay? And then you let go of shoot. Notice that the spike suit isn't getting used in this situation, even if I let go of shoot while Samus is still elevating, right? However, if you then move to the side, and this is important, let go of jump, then it can get used. Okay? So you got to be really careful about this sort of stuff. Or I already used it. Yeah. If you're moving to the side and you stop moving, or you let go of jump and repress it, or stuff like that, then it will get used. So make sure if you start moving to a side, and you have a spike suit, that you don't stop moving without a plan of what you're doing. Okay, so we get up here, get the crab. This next jump requires a crouch jump, just FYI. So if you try and do this, it's not going to work, even with a down grab. And if you try and do an angle crouch jump, not going to work, right? So you have to do that sort of thing. So yeah, get up here, get the crab, do a crouch jump. You want to jump over to this platform, and then jump over to this platform. Now, you don't want to jump high here, because there's a crab up here that that doesn't move until it's on screen. We need to freeze that crab in the right position, okay? So what we want to do is let go of our shot and then immediately jump up. And it freezes in a position that we can get onto it, okay? So we get onto the crab, we freeze that fish in position, we refreeze the crab, jump onto the fish, and then you can jump over here. Okay, so that's the first section of Main Street. Now we're going to talk about our favorite fish. Okay, because this fish gives people a lot of trouble. Mr. Fishy over here can sometimes be hard to get onto. For example, if you notice, we didn't get onto him there, right? Oops. Now, there's a reason that I do this the way that I do. And I hope that everybody will eventually adopt it, because it makes it so much easier. Notice we're not getting on. And what most people would do is down grab to try and get on. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But what we actually want to do is take advantage of something else weird that Super Metroid does. Imagine that, Super Metroid doing something weird. When Samus presses up against a frozen enemy, I can illustrate it on this fish, I guess. Or on the crab, actually, up here. She moves vertically higher, like at a faster rate. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, as soon as you press up against a frozen enemy, and this is underwater, suitless or not, this is in any situation, she will start moving vertically at a faster rate, and she'll move higher than she would otherwise. So what we want to do with this fish is freeze it and then start rubbing up against it as quickly as possible. That didn't sound right. Don't make fun of me. Anyway, so that we get the added benefit of the height boost. Okay. If you watch Zost's RBO run, he misses the jump onto this fish. And he tries to down grab it. And he totally could have made it if he spent more time pushing up against it. But yeah, he misses the jump, he tries to down grab it, he tries to down grab it again, I think. Or maybe he does that on the crab. But anyway, it's just it's one of those things where, like, It seems counterintuitive, but that's definitely how you want to do it. Now, I'm being slow because I'm like talking and stuff through it, but yeah, so I'll explain that last bit again. Okay, so you want to get up onto this platform, onto this one. You want to freeze this crab in place. And then what you want to do is you want to freeze this fish in a good position. What I used to do is jump and freeze it like that. And then just hold forward on it. Now, you'll eventually get to the point where you can tell whether you're going to clear it or not. And there might be a situation where you need to do a down grab at the very peak of your jump. But make sure that before you get to that point, you're pressing forward up against the frozen fish. Because if you try and do a down grab early, you're going to stop pressing against it. So Samus will stop moving vertically at that increased rate. And you won't get as much of a height benefit out of it. Okay. Yeah. So that's, again, this is the strat that I used to do. Grapple. Make sure you don't aim up prematurely. You gotta wait to land first. Do a crouch jump, hold a charge, get onto this platform, shoot upwards, jump onto the crab, freeze the fish, refreeze the crab, jump onto the fish, holding forward, come over here. Okay. That's probably the easiest fast way through this room, and I would definitely recommend learning it. Recently I found 2 faster strats, so I'm gonna go over those. What we can do is we can stay on the right side here. And we end up not waiting for anything. See that? So when we go up on the left side, you know, you have to do a crouch jump, right? You have to do a crouch jump to get onto that platform. And then you go on the left and then you jump back over to the right. And then you have to make sure that you shoot up and then follow your shot up so that it freezes the crab in the right spot. And then jump on the crab and then jump up and then freeze the fish in the right position. Blah, blah, blah. Like there's all of these like little periods of waiting. You're waiting, you know, 20 frames here or 15 frames here, half a second here, or whatever, for things to get in the right position. When you go up on the right side, there isn't any waiting. Like, if anything, you're going too slowly to make this stuff happen. Really, it just comes down to practicing so that you can do it fast enough to not have to do any of the waiting. Now, notice we're still kind of waiting here on this fish to get in the right spot. And we actually don't have to do that either. But this is like super ultra hard. See, still mess it up. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend going for this, even though I probably will, because I'm stupid like that. But let me see if I can show it at least once. Like, the idea is we want to do a bunch of down grabs to save a frame here and save a frame there, right? There I am screwing that up again. Like that. There we go. You do a straight spin jump, and you can do some wall jumps up there between the fish and the wall. Okay. That's really freaking hard. It's not just hard in terms of like not blowing your spike suit. It's just hard to do that movement that quickly, even if you don't have a spike suit. So but yeah, that's the first half of Main Street. Okay. So yeah, probably what I'll end up doing is this sort of a thing where like I'm going fast, but oh no, I just screwed that up. So then I'll why does that happen? Probably take it slow after I screw it up. Make sure I don't screw it up more. Oh, I was letting go of jump. So like that, right? Like I wasn't in position early enough to get the fish, so I just got it on the right side, and we still saved time over the left side strat, so. All right, this next part. So you want to jump up here, and then you want to jump over here. There's a crab that comes down this way. Now, if this crab gets down here, you're kind of screwed. I hate to say it, you're kind of screwed. You can't do a crouch jump here, unfortunately. It's just not going to work. That crab eventually can be coaxed to go all the way around the room. But who's going to do that? Right? So basically what you have to do is reset the room. And that's no fun. Okay. So don't let the crab get down. You want to freeze it either here, or if you're worried about not getting it in time, you can also freeze it here, and that's fine too. Okay. Then you want to come over here. Here's another either crouch jump or well, I'll just show you. You can't do a spin jump here. Get up. Okay. You have to do a crouch jump with a down grab. Notice just a regular crouch jump didn't do it. You have to down grab there. Or you can also do a spin jump from the left side there, and you'll make it. But that's a little slower. Okay. Or it was last time I timed it, at least. If somebody wants to check it, you're welcome to. After we get over here, oops. We want to switch to grapple. Still hold shoot when you do the jump so you don't blow your spike suit. Jump up here, grapple this guy, collect the drop, and go through. Now, notice I pressed R right there to angle up. So why didn't the spike suit get used? Well, the reason for that is that for whatever reason, after Samus kills a crab or kills an enemy, I guess, with grapple, it puts her in a falling state. All right? Underwater. Maybe in general. Probably in general, really. But yeah. So that's nice. You can use that to collect some drops with grapple in an optimal way. Collect. Get through the door. Okay. The optimal way to enter that room is right on the edge with a jump. Okay? The reason for that is that we can then jump up past this block and get in position to grapple. Okay? Should have saved state there. It's okay if you don't. I would just caution. This door transition's kind of bad. So anything you can do to fix it, even just minimally, is a good thing. Okay? So we bonked there. I don't think that really fixed it. But yeah. If you can do like a, you know, you barely land in the right spot and then jump through, that's what you want to do. If that's too hard, just run through. Also, arm pumps are really important moving underwater. They help a lot more than you would think. Not arm pumping just takes a lot longer than arm pumping when you're moving underwater suitless. So, okay. And then, yes, you do want grapple equipped coming into this next room. Okay. So, we're gonna jump through. You want to get onto this grapple block right here. Now, let's say that you bonk. Oh crap, you know, not a big deal. You can just come over here, spin jump, do the grapple. You can even come down here. Just make sure that you're holding shoot, you do a crouch jump, do the grapple, okay? You want to use this block to swing yourself over this way. Now, I used to think that ideally you would want to land on these blocks here. And that's not a bad thing necessarily, but it's also first of all, it's a lot harder to get a swing to actually land you on those blocks. And second of all, the room strat itself is a lot harder if you land on top of those blocks. So like, we got it there, right? But this isn't necessarily like a good thing. It's not a bad thing either. It just changes the room strat. Because then you have to come up here and you don't normally grapple onto that block. So then it's just confusing. Like, okay, well, do I just grapple the next one, or, you know, what do I do? So what I used to do is intentionally go for that, okay? I use some visual cues in the background here to know when to release. But the main thing is that you want to make sure that you're past the halfway point. And what I mean by that is you're swinging to the right of the block that you're swinging from. Because if you let go of it before that, on the left side, for example, Samus is just going to fall. Or not get very much momentum, okay? So yeah. Let go after you're swinging over to the right. Get on this one. You want to move upward with that next swing. Sort of the same thing there. And then if you can, you want to use that lower grapple block there. Which I'll show what I mean. This block is lower than that one. See that? So that's the cue that I use to know, okay, this is the last swing that I should be doing. Yeah. So if you end up landed in this situation, the best thing to do is you hold shoot, you do a crouch jump up, and then you just swing across. Okay. And then you go through the door. So I'll show that all together. Ta-da! Okay, so that's good. That's a good strat. I found another strat like a week ago that is pretty hard, but you can get a feel for it if you practice it enough. So if you do a morph, I guess I should talk about grapple jumps first. Let's talk about grapple jumps. This doesn't apply only to suitless underwater, but it's a lot easier to do if you're suitless underwater. So if Samus is moving upward after releasing a grapple, and you morph, and then unmorph while she is still moving upward, it puts her in this really interesting state where the game thinks that she is on the ground. See how she's running there? Well, when you're on the ground, normally you can jump, right? So even though we're midair, we can jump. And we can chain these together. So if you jump and then morph and then unmorph and then jump, you can do that indefinitely. As long as you complete the animation cycle before Samus's upward movement stops. If she starts falling downward, you can't do it anymore, okay? So we can't do it now. Does that make sense? So those are grapple jumps. So what we can do here is we can kind of take advantage of that and do a morph here. Hey Sasha Boss, what's up? And use that to prevent us from ever really having to stop if we do it correctly. Now, like I said, it's kind of hard, but I'll see if I can do it at least once. So if you do this correctly, and you have to time it correctly too, it's not just a positioning thing, you have to time it correctly. It's closer. You can clear this first set of grapple blocks. Oh, that's another thing. Make sure that you're still holding right when you let go of shoot, because if you're already holding down and then you release and press down again. That was weird. Anyway, there's some weird quirks to not doing it correctly where Samus will move. She'll lose her momentum, so. Maybe. Yeah, it's neutral. So if you're not holding down or right, if you're holding down, that's fine. If you're holding right, that's fine. But if you hold neutral and you let go, then Samus is not going to move over to the right. Okay? Yeah, Tex is smart. He figured it out. So you got to be careful with your timing there. All right. Anyway, stop it, Samus. Okay, that was almost it. Like, it's like we're moving up too much, if that makes sense, but we need to be moving upward. Anyway, we'll just go. So we get through this room, right? Doo-doo-doo. Also, if you're moving upward in a grapple jump state and then you shoot grapple, you know, you're rude. If you're moving upward in a grapple jump state and then you shoot the grapple beam again, it will cancel that state, which you'd think is a bad thing, but it can actually be a good thing because it can let you like move sideways or stop your upward momentum. So, okay, in this room we want to go down the middle, collect these crabs. That's normally a super door, and then you jump through. Now, there's something really interesting about suitless movement in that if you're on the ground, if you're covering a short distance, spin jumps, like short spin jumps, are optimal. But if you're covering a long distance, you want to do walking arm pumps. Okay? So, yeah, what I usually do in this room is just this. So I enter, break the block, select grapple, get that guy, get this guy, go through the door. GG. There is a slightly faster strat that you can do, which is something like that. But getting the optimal crab stuff there is pretty hard. So, okay, this room. So we break these blocks with a power bomb, obviously, and we immediately want to go down. If you morph, that will save lag frames, so keep that in mind. But you don't want to stay in morph the whole time, or else your movement will suffer. Like, see how much longer it took me to get down through the blocks there? So, and I have timed it and doing the jump and then remorphing. It's optimal there. After that, you want to select grapple. Do some arm pumps here, jump over this guy, keep doing arm pumps, and stop right here, okay? What we want to do is swing underneath this structure using this grapple block right here, okay? And do some grapple jumps up to the top left of the room. Now, as long as you are pressing against the wall, it's okay if Samus does a straight jump out of, well, really in any situation. So we still have a spike suit, right? So if we did a straight jump here without holding shoot or without holding L, normally the spike suit would get used. But if we press against the wall, so we're holding left right now and then we jump, it doesn't get used. For whatever reason. But when doing grapple jumps, if you have a spike suit, it's very important that coming out of your morph, you're holding a direction. Doesn't matter if it's forward or backward. You just got to be holding a direction, because if you're not, it'll get used like that. Okay. You also technically could hold angle if you wanted, angle down, or shoot, I guess. But the downside to doing that is that you can't morph if you continue holding it, right? So that just makes it harder. So it's easier to just hold like forward, for example, because in order to morph, you have to let go of forward anyway, because you're pressing down, right? So that's this room. Again, just make sure you're holding forward, and you don't actually need to hold jump. Samus will jump the same height out of a grapple jump, at least for the purposes of what we need, without holding it. If you do hold jump, the likelihood that you'll accidentally use your spike suit is a lot higher. So just tap jump, come over here, jump through the door. Okay. This room is interesting. There are a few things you can do to get through it. The technically fastest way is to just skip these Metroids, okay? Come over here. However, if we can get a super off of one of these guys, that is very, very beneficial for us. So I've deemed it worth it to kill them in the hopes of a good drop. And if you happen to get it off the first one, then that's great, right? Like you could just go. I usually switch to grapple here, kill that one that way. We need to bring this Metroid over here to do this clip. This clip is not hard to do. I'm just gonna say that right now. So don't let it intimidate you. The idea is that you bring the Metroid over to this bottom right corner, okay? And then what you want to do is just hold angle, because you have a spike suit. Jump and aim down. What that will do is put Samus on top of the Metroid, and then you just jump again. You stand up and jump, and she'll clip through. You do need to stand up. That part is important. Oh, also, we don't want to kill these Metroids with Grapple Beam, because every time you kill an enemy with Grapple Beam, like I said, it puts Samus into a falling state. When you're on the ground, what that does is it stops her movement, okay? So if you can kill an enemy with your beams and continue moving while you're doing that, you want to do that instead of using Grapple, even though Grapple will kill them without freezing. So again, stand, jump, aim down, get on top, stand, jump. That's it. That's the whole clip. It's not hard. The last thing I would mention there is that I think I am subconsciously crouching when I freeze the Metroid in place. We can confirm that. Make sure you don't kill this Metroid or you have to reset the room. Okay, yeah, so I crouch, I hold L and R to aim upward, and then I shoot. And then you do the clip. Okay. Alright. Botwoon. Guess what? We're not gonna use an X Factor on Botwoon. Okay, by the way, we're just gonna take this to Dragon. We're not gonna talk about Dragon. We're just gonna take the movement to Dragon, and then we'll be done with the tutorial for night, and I'll try and get a run started. So hold a charge coming through this room. Also, you want to jump through the door to fix the transition. Okay. continue holding a charge. Trying to think of the best way to explain this. Okay, so if you pay attention, I hold my charge shot and I move over to this left spot right here. And then I release my charge shot on the same part of the song every single time. Go. Okay. When you do that, it will hit Botwoon as he comes out of the hole. You can technically release it a little bit earlier if you want to, but make sure you don't release it too early or you won't get the hit. Okay. After that, the fight is pretty straightforward. The hard part is learning how to handle Botwoon's different patterns without blowing your spike suit. But basically, we need to get 9 supers in him after that first charge shot, okay? If he goes along the top, I have not found a way to one-round that suitless. So like that pattern freaking sucks, okay? And there I go blowing my spike suit. But if you can get him to do anything else, the other patterns are all one-roundable. And I think I can show those, actually. Yeah, so we were one super short there. So let me... Yeah, so I have a save state for every pattern, and then the new practice ROM actually allows you to change the Botwoon orange too, which is nice. So... So that's how you want to handle that, right there. Pretty straightforward. That's that pattern. Okay. Something to watch out for with Botwoon, especially suitless. He does a lot of damage, so we have 899 now. Took one hit, it's 120 damage. Okay. If you are inside a Botwoon when your iframes end, you can actually take damage from multiple hitboxes at once and just get completely wrecked. So like that could have killed us right there, for example. Hey, Kaylee fan, how's it going? So pay attention to your health here, is what I'm saying. Because if you only have like 200 health, that could be it for you. And that would suck if you're on pace and then you died to Botwoon. Also, he can't hurt you after he's dead. His headpiece won't hurt you, I don't think. But his body can. Oh no. See that? So be careful. Okay, coming out of this room, we want at least 14 supers. We do not currently have 14 supers. And that's okay. If you were lucky enough to save your spike suit the entire way here, you can do a sideways shine spark and bust through all those blocks right there and skip this entire room. That's a beautiful thing, and it saves a lot of freaking time. So notice this is a 5:23 second room. Okay, that's assuming that you don't need to farm, which we really should have gotten an extra super there. If you do need to farm, what you want to do is just quickly arm pump back over here, grab what you need, and go back. So that's going to change, obviously, but that one super cost us about 8 seconds, 7 to 8 seconds. So keep that in mind. Now, let's say we don't have a spike suit. This room kind of sucks in that case. The idea is you want to come over here, jump, and morph into this hole, collect the energy tank, and then what you need to do is jump morphs through this entire maze. So here it's a jump morph. Here it's a jump morph. Here you roll down through, do another jump morph, and then you roll out. Okay. That took us 40 seconds. If we needed to farm more supers, like let's say that we needed to farm, 4 supers or 5 supers or whatever, that time just goes up and up and up. Okay. So yeah, an optimal spike suit strat saves about 50 seconds in this room because we have to factor for the item fanfare as well. So keep that in mind. Might be like 45 if you have really clean movement and get really good RNG from the little bugs that you farm, but yeah. Okay, so we'll just get through. You can hold shoot here. You want to hold shoot through the door and then release. Shoot at an angle, sorry. That'll freeze that Metroid in place and you can jump up. And as long as you don't do like a really clean jump like that, you scroll the screen up far enough, that Metroid will come down, which is what you want. You do a crouch jump and aim down, freeze the second one, and then you can do one more crouch jump and get out with grapple, okay? Oh good, a super. Okay. This next room is called Coliseum, and it's infamous for being very difficult in pretty much every category. In a lot of categories, you can do what's called a full halfie. If you have good enough movement, basically you store a shine spark from the bottom of this room, because you had speed booster in the previous room, and then you climb up the wall and you do a full halfie across, right? But since we're suitless, we can't do that. So we have to get through this room with a combination of grapple beam and wall jumps. Now, we need to be really careful because if we get stuck in the sand here, there's spikes in the bottom, they do 60 damage per hit, and it becomes very difficult to get out. It is possible, but it's very hard, okay? The best way I can explain to get out is to time a crouched jump while you're currently on the spikes, moving left or right, so moving forward, and then releasing near the peak of your jump and repressing jump. You do not want to turn around unless you absolutely have to while moving back and forth in the sand, because if you do it wrong, you're gonna lose height and get sucked back down. So if you fall in the sand, try not to panic. You might be able to make it out. But yeah. Okay, there are a couple different ways to get through this room. The old strat, this is what Zos did in his and what I used to do, is you'd run through this previous door, you would jump and you'd do a mock ball. I can just show it, I guess. You jump and you do a mock ball, okay? I stopped doing that because 1, I kept missing it, and 2, I realized that this other thing is faster. But yeah, do a mock ball basically. He would unmorph, if I remember correctly. He'd unmorph entering the water and then grapple onto this block and swing up. Okay. What I've started doing is you can either do your spin jump down that way and swing up, or you can grapple onto this block. It's not as hard as I'm making it look. And you can just do an optimal swing that way, like this, and grapple across, okay? So then we get onto that next platform. On this platform, you again have 2 options. The old strat was to run off and aim down and jump across, okay? And you can do that. It costs 60 energy because you're taking a hit from that spike. By the way, you basically just want to shoot like as you're entering the water there. I don't know why I'm making it look so freaking hard. If you fall, it's not the end of the world. You just need to use your grapple beam to optimally jump back up, basically. If you time a jump, if you run and you time a jump here, you can actually clear the spikes and then just do another grapple onto that wall and climb up there. Oops, I missed. Don't do that. Oh, this is actually something that I can mention. So let's say that you end up in the sand down here. Obviously, you can grapple like that to get out. Let's say that you end up in the sand down here, and you're thinking, dude, there's no way that I can reach those blocks. Well, you actually can. Okay, it's not that bad. No, not necessarily, Tex. And I'll mention that. I'll actually be mentioning that in the Dragon stuff, but no, you don't actually need low energy here. Unless you have... Even if you have, like, full reserves, full double reserves, you probably don't. So after jumping over those spikes, you end up over here. This is probably the hardest part of this room. You want to jump across and do a damage boost off of those spikes. Okay. Onto these spikes. Okay, so damage boost. You can tell where they are based on these waterfalls. I don't know why I wasn't doing that, but yeah. Land on that platform. Use your iframes to jump across and do a wall jump there, okay? You would normally still have grapple selected. So if you happen to like run off and miss, not the end of the world. If you're quick on your feet, you can still grapple onto this. Or if you happen to miss a wall jump or like bonk. Sometimes you might bonk on the ceiling, like over here. Oh crap. Right. You cannot reach that grapple from down here, but you can do a grapple jump here and reach it that way. Okay. Anyway. Okay, and then once you get across here, optimally what you want to do is a running short hop. Okay, that'll get you down here, and that way you're not bonking this corner on your way through. And then you want to jump basically at the end of that transition. Let me show that. So the best way to do this next room that I've found in Suitless is to do a jump through the door, okay? But when we jump really high like that, it ruins the freaking transition. So we want to do a late jump. That ruins it less. And then we can just hold jump through the transition for a second and get through that way. You also technically probably could do a moonfall. Okay. But moonfall is a lot less beneficial. Yeah, it's a lot less beneficial suitless underwater, so I don't think that's worth it. And if you just run through the door, you're not saving very many frames on the transition, and then you're losing frames doing the run and fall off, or trying to do an incredibly short hop like that. So I just jump through the door, like at the very bottom, hold jump slightly after the transition, come down and hit this eye door. The other day I noticed something really interesting about this eye door. So if you do a straight fall from here and you shoot, it won't always connect. Like sometimes it will, but there will be situations like that where you're pegging it like right in the freaking eye and it just doesn't connect. You can avoid that if you hold forward here. It will connect pretty much every time. You can also just wait until you land and then shoot. That's fine. And then if you want, you can fix this transition. Save a couple frames by just doing an aim down jump like that. That's a 59 frame transition, and if you don't do that, you get a 63 frame transition. Okay. So like I said, we're not going to talk about Dragon today. Talk about him next time. Her. Convince Dragon is a girl. But yeah. So thanks for bearing with me. It's like we've been doing this part of the stream for a little over an hour. That's actually not bad. There's a lot to cover in Suitless Maridia. So yeah. I'm gonna end that off there, and we're gonna try and get a run started